Hi, everybody. Happy Tarot Tuesday. It's me. It's Sarah G, the Witch MD. That is Master of Divination. I am here tonight with my good friend Ashley Hammett from Amethyst Moon Readings. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Hi. I said good friend, but this is the second time that we've actually spoken.
Yes.
And you've come across, come into my kind of orbit because of a mutual friend who kind of put us together. And I'm so glad that she did.
Yes, definitely.
And Crystal will be on one of my podcasts in the future. So we'll just put a pin in there and can't wait for that. But so because it's Tarot Tuesday, I am going to pull a card. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be the card of the episode, if you will. And your inference is a little bit different than mine. So I'm going to shuffle and pull really fast. Now, these cards are brandy new. Oh, look at that. So it's the Starman Tarot, which is the David Bowie-esque tarot.
I love David Bowie.
I do too. So this is the Empress. So I'm not sure if you guys out there can see, it is very stylized. It is not typical of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I usually use. I wanted to pull something different. So this is the Empress card. Ashley, what does the Empress mean to you?
The Empress means to me mother. That's the first thing I always say. She's not the High Priestess. She's the Empress. She's home. She's nurturing. She's loving. She's guiding. Everything you even think of Mother Earth, she is. So she can be, very, outside the home, inside the home, all of it. Just nurture,
Mm-hmm.
nurture.
I love that. I love that. And I would say that the Empress is about unconditional love.
Yes.
Sometimes within that mother energy, even if it's not something that you have given birth to or that you are nurturing in a certain way, there is that way of feeling that unconditional love. I truly believe that the best is going to happen to you. That unconditional way of feeling about somebody is the way that I feel about the Empress. It doesn't mean that you have, done all the work to get to that, from point A to point B with that person, but you just truly believe the best for them.
Yep.
That's what I love about the Empress.
And growth.
So
it always represents some type of growth,
Yep. Abundance, growth, anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But that's the card of the day is the Empress, you guys. So I hope that you, take that energy with it and understand that to be, it's all about loving. It's all about loving yourself, loving others, having that unconditional faith that things are going to happen in the way that they should based on that love environment. So Ashley, you did tell me that we have that astrology background.
Astrology background. It's the first thing that way back when I was a young child, and I was obsessed with birthdays. And later down the line, I realized why that is. And I wanted to know your birthday, and I'd attach it to a zodiac sign. And I was a teenager, and I realized you had a birth chart, and that was a mind explosion. So that's how I got into it. Was like the funnel that led me to everything.
So what would the Empress be in that kind of, if we're looking at that astrology or that zodiac kind of feeling?
Oh, goodness, you're putting me on
what
the
do you?
spot.
Yeah, and I don't mean to.
I always want to say Cancer.
Okay.
Cancer is home. Cancer is mother. Cancer is love.
Okay. Right. And so we just kind of went through that season of time where the
And
sun was in Cancer.
tomorrow's Virgo season.
Tomorrow's Virgo season. So having that emotion of unconditional kind of love about yourself or that abundance about yourself, even though it doesn't necessarily translate all the way into Virgo season, we still have that energy that's really transparent within this
Yeah.
because we're supposed to be feeling a certain way. It's the end of the summer. We're getting our kids off to school. We're doing bigger things for ourselves. The seasons are changing, which is why I have allergies. All of these wonderful things are kind of transpiring. So even though it's not necessarily zodiac specific, I feel like it's very all encompassing for this season and time frame.
I've noticed just to bring it back to understanding, I've noticed each zodiac sign, like we're about to go back to school, that's a Virgo. The studying is a Virgo. The Sagittarius, that holiday season, that's the partier. So we have each sign, and our society celebrates each sign, and they don't even realize.
They don't even realize it. What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, you're a Pisces. That makes sense. So that intuitive, that, that very psychic feeling. Yeah. That very psychic feeling, So it's funny because you're a Pisces. I'm also a water sign. I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, I love Scorpios. You guys get a bad rap, but I love Scorpios.
I know. We do. And, sometimes we deserve it, but at the same time.
My mom is a Scorpio, so I understand that.
Myself, my daughter, and my son are all Scorpios. So my poor husband, yes, that's lots of intense energy. He's a Sag.
Well, he can handle it then.
He can. He does it very well.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny that we talk about that, and a lot of people out there listening and watching would understand that that's the sun sign that we have, that we talk about in this way. Yes. But that's only one small facet of who we are and what we're comprised of. Because I'd probably say you as a Pisces probably don't automatically fit into every mold that a Pisces is, Pisces are this, Pisces are that. And I can speak to the Scorpio side. I am not as mean or, as, cutthroat as some.
I was going to say cutthroat and you just said it.
Yeah. As some of the Scorpios that we know to be. So, I like to go by a big three. Yeah. So I like to talk about that big three and say it makes more sense because it's very individual. And it's very, congruent to what we are indefinitely. Doesn't mean that we're just Scorpio and that's it.
Yeah. And I always say hands down. And a lot of people don't understand your horoscope is not supposed to be read for your sun sign. And so everybody gets that wrong. It's your rising sign. That's your outer. That's your ego. That's your
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Shut the front door. So actually, it's really funny because I tell people along the same lines as like, you can pick what you're feeling. So if one day you feel like you're reading Virgo, because we're in the time of Virgo, you can do that. If you feel like you're, if you have a stronger connotation to the Leo, horoscope, then read that. Like it's not very determinate on one particular sign.
Yeah, no,
I think that's really cool.
It really isn't. It isn't. And, your moon is your emotions. And I don't think people understand. Usually your moon is more powerful than your sun sign. And obviously your rising is that mask. So everybody that meets you is meeting that person. So you're all these people in one. So top three, hands down. It's so important.
Top three. And I'm not super, I would love to learn more. And I don't mean not super into, but I can't speak to charts and, I can understand it on a surface level. But what I do understand is that, how we love within that Venus world or how certain things look for, that Mars energy, right? So, but I always tell people about that top three. It will make more sense. It'll blow your mind if you really figure that out.
Even Googling, it's so easy. You don't even need to get it professionally read. You can Google, Pisces sun, Venus and Aries, you can Google that and it will snip it,
Yeah, and it will give you a little synopsis.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you listening out there who don't know what we're talking about with that big three, it is part of your natal chart. And to find your natal chart is also a free service if you so desire. You can Google that. You can just put free natal chart. And all you need is the location of your birth, the date, and possibly the time of your birth. And then it will tell you exactly where the planetary and the constellations and everything is in the sense of when you were born. And it's very individual, it's very specific to person. So it doesn't have to be, oh, we are all born in this time and therefore we are this. So that's where you guys can find that if you so desire.
Even
but
Snapchat has it. Your Snapchat,
really?
If you sign up for Snapchat, it gives you your full chart.
Oh my God, I am learning things. I'm going to be
I have a teenager. I have a teenager, so
okay.
He comes to me and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a full birth chart. Give that to me.
Right. I have little children, so they're always like, we just want to see the filters.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm sure we'll get there someday.
Oh yes.
So speaking of teenager and speaking of where you started, tell me a little bit about how you became, part of this journey and when you decided that you were going to come out of that broom closet.
I know, right? It is a closet. I think I knew I was different, not to be like that. Like everybody feels that way. But I really was different. I grew up Catholic, I come from that area, going to catechism and all those things. So you're taught one way. And I just wanted, I guess, to rebel. Me and my best friend, still to this day, I call her ride or die, sneaking Sylvia Browne books, looking up astrology, like way back when. And it's always been such a huge piece of me. I can't even explain it. It's always been here, always.
Right.
And it's just, I always say, you don't wake up one day and run a marathon. It's been this growing and growing and growing experience.
Right. I would agree. And I like to kind of put it into perspective sometimes to say that we go through changes every 7 to 13 years. By the time you're 13, you're asking questions.
Yes.
You're thinking about things a lot differently than what you're taught.
And
where you are. So it makes sense that after that transitionary period of being 13 into the next, that's where you're sneaking off. I remember making Ouija boards.
Me too. And
burning incense.
Dip as a board, raising everybody up.
Right. And that's where you start. And I feel like that is kind of that kindred moment that we all can speak to and understand. The Sylvia Browne books, the Edward Gacy books, that kind of a situation where you're understanding things to be, there is something outside of there. Did I say Gacy? I meant to say Casey. Oh my gosh.
I think you did.
My brain.
I heard it in my brain that way.
I'm thinking that I watch way too much true crime. No.
Me too, by the way.
Right?
Me too. That's got to be a thing.
It is a thing. It is a thing. It's totally correlated. Totally correlated. But, understanding yourself to be a little bit different, how then did you kind of morph into what you're doing now?
Oh my goodness.
I know it's we probably don't have enough time for that.
No, we probably don't. But I think around college time, when just something I've noticed in my life, anytime I'm put under astronomical stress, or even something happens in a family, or something happens, it's like you level up psychically. You level up. So throughout these really, I want to say, traumatic experiences in my life, I always explain it like Harry Potter and a Horcrux, that you split. So it really feels like my psychic abilities just kept snapping, splitting,
right,
and to the point where I fully trusted it, and whatever comes to my mind, it was like kind of playing around with it. Like, if I say this, just say it. Don't think about it. Don't have your ego in it. And what I could do with that.
Right. Oh my God, that's so incredible. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of people don't trust their own psychic abilities or the own intuition at lowest level.
I know.
That sense of intuition, and it's like a muscle. The more you trust it, the more you go with it, the more that you feel better about it, right? Yeah, it's very directly related there. Yeah. You feel like you're more in tune and that's, in tune, but you feel like you're more in tune to saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. That specific of it's all happening for a divine reason,
Yeah.
and now it's second nature. I tell people things and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I
I
don't know.
know. And I just had I have a 11-year-old middle son, and I just went on a play date, and the mom's like, how do you shut it off? I'm like, I really don't. I'm just living.
Right.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
there. I don't know how
Right.
else to describe it.
Right. And that's what I say too, is that, I know how to shut it off because I'm busy. I got
Yes, you're
stuff to
busy.
do.
I know.
And then the other thing is that you'll always get, and it's really funny to me because anytime you're at a party or a gathering or something, everybody, oh, do you have your cards with you? Or could you read me? Or and I'm like, no, I'm drinking. I'm having a good time. I'm not thinking about that.
That's
I
my
don't
thing.
want
I'm tired. Let me take a nap.
I'm not doing that right now. I'm
No,
busy. I'm
I
thinking
know.
about when I'm going to get that hot dog off the grill. I'm not thinking about reading for you. Oh, tell me my favorite color. I don't know.
I don't
Is
have
it
time.
blue? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I agree.
it's funny that, we do turn it on and turn it off for certain instances or certain situations. And then sometimes we can't, you'll go into a certain place or you'll go into somebody's home and their loved one will be right there, or there will be something you need to mention, and that loved one is not going to leave you alone.
No, until you say something. Yeah.
Exactly. I remember.
I find children have a real hard, young children have a hard time understanding boundaries.
Yes, I agree. I remember one time I was working for a company where I was in merchandise, and I would go into different stores, and I was doing something in the store with all of this, merchandise, and I was working, and I look up and there is somebody's brother who had just passed away 2 weeks ago, and he followed me around the store, and I was like, dude, I'm working my muggle job. I can't. He said, go find my sister and tell. I'm like, I'm not.
I know.
But he wouldn't leave me alone until I did. Yep. So, there are times that we can very actively and effectively shut that off and on, but there are those times that we have to listen.
That spirit is very persistent. I have it on my Ring doorbell, which is the apparition, 2:00 in the morning, ringing my Ring doorbell, opening the door, and I have a 9 to 5 rule. With spirit, everything I've heard about 9 to 5. You know where to find me. And sure enough, this person is opening my door, I'm like, 9 to 5. I know that would probably freak out other people, but
no, it happens all the time. It happens
normal.
all the time.
Yeah.
And having those boundaries that we have as, being on this physical plane that we can connect to the other side, we have to be able to turn it on and turn it off because we have a home life. We have different things.
I have children. Like, don't freak out.
I have children, right? I remember doing something. I think I was doing a table tipping session, and I came home and I was putting my pajama bottoms on in the dark because everybody was asleep. And I look over, and then somebody was there looking at me, and I said, I'm home.
I know.
You can't be in my house.
Yes.
Leave me, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be right there. And sorry. And then they were gone. But we are normal people. We have normal day-to-day existences where, it's hard to say those things. And it's not that we're trying to be disrespectful to spirit, but at the same time, the intention is there. Please come to me between the hours of 9 to 5, or, and they do understand that, and they do respect us because then in turn we do respect them.
Yep, exactly.
The joking part that we're doing right now, it's kind of that exchange of they know that we're the vessel, they know that we're the conduit, and they can get what they can only get from us. So they kind of understand that to be very, limited in nature. So, but so Ashley, tell me, so you have a gamut of things that you like to do in the sense of connecting. And what is your favorite, or and I shouldn't say favorite, because I feel like for what we do, it changes all the time. What are you kind of doing right now that you're kind of into? Is it more so tarot readings or oracle, or
just my brain?
Yep, that's your brain.
I'm super, super grateful.
Yep.
I've just been banging out readings. When you pray for something, and I cannot believe where I'm at even today. It just blows my mind. So I think Nothing. I don't use any tools right now. It's just, it's right here. It's right. It's fast. It's easier. It's easier right now.
Yep. Yep.
That, of course, that can shift, and it probably will. But I just use my spirit guide right now and his impressions.
Right, right. And I think that's really kind of also very pertinent to say, is that just because we use a tool, and going back to the word conduit, that's what we are. So sometimes, we can use the tool to clarify certain things.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes we don't need it at all. I can tell you many different times that I've done readings and I've thrown 3 cards down and talked for a whole hour, and they're like, aren't you going to throw it? No,
yeah.
I don't need any more. I'm telling you exactly what you need and exactly what universe is giving me to tell you. So, it changes all the time, but the fact that you do it in this way and you're very effective, that to me is like just another testament to how strong you are as a psychic and as a medium. And you're right. It's a progression, because we hold on to these tools like a security blanket.
Oh, I know. We really do. And I like to push. I like to push limits. So putting the cards down, I wanted to see what can I do without it. They're right here beside me. I take them anytime I talk about something. There's still a security blanket, and they're always by me, which is probably just me. But I stopped using it. I heard stop using them, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's push it.
Yep. And so here we are.
Yeah.
I strive to be that level, but again, and I always say I'm too nosy. I want to know the dirt. I want to see the tea.
Yeah,
and so when I'm pulling these cards, I'm like, there's the tea. There's the nitty gritty.
I get it. Yeah,
right. Right. But it's not a competition.
No.
So some days you might grab them. Some days you don't.
Yep. And there are certain clients I still use them for. They want them, and I feel it is a bridge. The cards are a bridge because they can see and they can understand. So if you need me to show you, because they'll still say the same thing I'm saying. If you need the bridge, I'll give it.
Right. It's more of that physical, visual way to connect, because a lot of people are very apprehensive when you are, I am a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm a intuitive, I'm a sensitive. They're like, well, what does that mean? Well, what do you use? Or, even the time frame too. So with some of my sessions, I do a longer, more in-depth session. And some of the things that people, how many cards are you going to throw down?
I don't know.
You're going to get, but then you hear that, but you're a psychic, you should know that. I hate that.
Yeah. Tomato. Hey, what are you going to say?
Exactly. So not using anything has kind of been part of your,
quest.
Yeah, right. But that can change as it always does. Do you teach classes? Do you do anything of that nature in this moment?
I'm a single mom of 3 kids. So, classes I used to do here and there. I used to even go into people's homes and do group mediumship and things like that. And I've really dialed it down. I've really just brought it to simple. I don't advertise. Even this is very rare for me.
Well, thank you.
If you come to me, you found me, and I do believe in that. So I just keep it very basic right now, just because of my home life. But even that, I'm slammed every day, all day.
Yep.
It's pretty insane to me. I still can't believe it.
The universe always provides what we need. And I feel like once we trust that process and say, like, I'm going to get what I can get. And it happens the way that it happens. And people will always say, like, that just dropped into your lap. Yeah, it did, because I needed it, or I was ready for it, or it needed to happen specifically at that time.
Yep.
So as long as we trust the process and kind of go through what we're going through in order to relay the messages that we need to the people that need to hear them, I feel like this is what our purpose is in a certain way, besides being the mom, because of course I have kids too, and doing all of those things. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to spend time on yourself and spend that energy on yourself to really trust who you are and what your gifts are. So I'm glad that you're doing that and you're kind of living that.
Yeah, I feel like again, you know how you just said fell into your lap. Every step of the way, every like crack that I was talking about has led me to like a pot of gold, and it's again, I just still can't believe it.
Right, right. And having that understanding that all these things are happening and like, am I deserving? Like you're just pulling through. You just keep
Yeah,
going. You just,
keep
yep,
going.
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that holds you back except for the physical stuff that happens within our lives.
Yeah.
And then I would also say that universe has a way of peeling back. Now, for a time, I was really getting a little bit more like I feel like I was pouring from an empty cup, so to speak.
Yeah,
So I didn't get it. I wasn't as slammed as I am now. I felt like I didn't need to be.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I felt much better and it's been flying like it has
That's
been.
how it goes. Ebbs and flows. Everything's energy.
Ebbs and flows. Exactly. So, I mean, we all kind of do something different, but we all have the purpose of helping people and understanding that. I didn't always do this. My whole situation kind of evolved much like yours, where I had a very standardized background of different things. I went to college. I did Muggle stuff. I worked in different industries, and then all of a sudden this fell into place, and it's all that we've needed, or all that I've needed. And I trust it and believe that it's supposed to happen that way.
Astronomically, yeah.
Yeah, astronomically, but no Virgo energy here. No, just kidding. My dad's a Virgo, so like when we talk about Virgo, that picture of him having things look a certain way, like be very cerebral about things,
Well, my best friend, her birthday's on Saturday. My best friend is a Virgo, and her top 3 is all Earth. And so here I am, a Pisces, and I'm a Leo moon, Leo rising. So I have this big personality, and here she is behind me, organizing my life. I swear that everybody needs, look it up, your polar opposite, and that should be your best friend to bring you balance.
Right. And that makes sense because I am also a Leo rising. I'm a Pisces moon. So I also have a very big personality. And usually Scorpios don't like to talk about certain things, but here I am, and there's a podcast now. And,
that's the Leo rising. That's the Leo rising.
Exactly. This whole idea of talking about all of this stuff, right? But most of my friends, my best friends from college or that have been around for a really long time are earth signs as well. So, I mean, we need to be grounded. We need to have that person that's going to bring us back down and stick our roots back in the soil, because if not, we're all over the place.
I know. You need somebody, a reality check. I always say your best friends are the ones that can actually tell you the truth. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Right. No, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah. But, we try it anyway.
we do. Like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Only to be told. So you have a website, I see, and the viewers and the listeners down, the listeners can't see it, but I'm sure the viewers can. And it's amethystmoonreadings.com, and that's how we can get in touch with you and book things with you. Yep. And how long have you had a website? I do not have one, so it's something I thought about.
That was another leap of faith, because I hate advertising. I hate like Facebook. It doesn't feel like me. It just isn't me. So I've been trying, because I did a little bit on Facebook. I'm like, no. It's taking too much of me.
Right.
So everyone's like, get a website. How do we get in contact with you? So it was a burnout. It was a burnout situation where I couldn't handle it anymore. And something fell into my lap where I met this gentleman. I went to his wedding. He develops websites for big corporate America, and he's like, I'll do your website for you. I was like, really?
That's amazing.
And it fell into my lap. Great. And he's another Pisces, great guy. He worked with me for like 4 months, because of course I'm like, I don't like that. And it really is a baby. That's how that happened. Burnout.
But that's how we're going to get in touch with you to book anything.
Yes.
I think that having that, again, leap of faith within yourself to say, like, I need to put myself out there, because even as, we're only one person. We only, I don't have a secretary. I don't have a group of people behind me. I am not like one of the Matt Frasers or, you know, the Teresa Caputos out there. I'm not that person that has a team of people that are helping me facilitate what I do.
I wish I had a
secretary. I know, but I'm it. So, when it is literally a sole proprietor of that we're doing, I think a lot of people don't understand that there are certain times and certain places that we're not going to get back to right away, and we're not going to be able to book that appointment, or there's certain things going on. And I actually struggle with that myself sometimes, of wanting to be so present for people, even though I've got stuff that's happening. So,
and that's a really, that's probably in all of this of what I do, the hardest thing for me is the boundary of that, of not always like, I want to jump to them. I want to get to them, because the people that come to us, they're not in good places most of the time. There are some people, but the people, my clients, are probably going through their rock bottoms, and they're looking for help. They're looking for advice. They've just lost somebody and they can't understand it. So here, bleeding heart, I want to help everybody, but then I have kids, I have a home, I have to go grocery shopping, so the life stuff gets in the way. So that balance is hands down the hardest thing ever.
I understand. And having like a platform such as a website in order to facilitate that connection with people, I feel like that's something that I'm glad that you did take that leap of faith into, and understanding that there needed to be something that was beyond you.
Yes.
A lot of people do struggle with that, because we do want to help. That's the point. That's why we have the gifts that we have. And that's why we do what we do, is because ultimately we are, you said it yourself, that bleeding heart. We want to make sure that we're getting to people that really need us.
Yes.
But we're human. We're human, and we have
always
human stuff. And it happens all the time. And I am so grateful for some of the clients that I have that understand that, and yet the new people that I meet that also kind of understand that too. So, if anything, it's that we're also teaching patience too, and with ourselves through this too. But having this kind of conversation and talking about all of these gifts that we have. Do you feel that people genuinely have or are born with gifts? Do you feel that?
I feel everybody has it. It's how big is your ego?
I agree.
That's it, and it literally comes down to that little piece. How big is your ego? Are you able to pick it up and put it on the shelf and have a connection with somebody? Because I feel if you could do that, you probably could do what I do. But a lot of people really, really hold on to it so strong and don't want to let it go. And that, that's their choice. They can live in this mortal world like it, but that's all it is to me.
I think so too.
We're born with an intuition.
Yeah. I agree. I think so too. And I think that a lot of people, and I can't tell you how many times that lately I've done a couple events in my own bookings. I've said to people, you already knew that though.
I know.
Don't you say that a lot? You're like,
I know.
It's just validating what you already knew.
Yes. Or even I had a mediumship reading this morning. She lost a baby, and so it was very intense. And I'm saying this, and she goes, "Oh yes, I knew that was him." I said this. "Oh yes, I knew." Giving her, and I'm like, it's just she needed confirmation. She needed validation in order to trust herself.
Right. I've said it so many times the last week. You kind of already knew that.
Yes. You don't need me. I always say that to people. You don't need me. Like, yes, I did.
But yes, yeah. But it's having that, yes, we do have to trust ourselves a little bit. And sometimes by having that affirmation or that validation from a stranger,
I know,
and understanding, and circling back to that Empress card, having that unconditional love to say, you got this. I might not know you. I might not be part of your life, but I can tell you all of the energy that I see here, and your loved ones are talking to me, and it's nothing but love here. It's nothing but that understanding here, and that's exactly right. What you had said earlier, putting that ego on a shelf. I feel like a lot of people within our position have a hard time towing that line, and And that's why we get into these patterns of, that reflection of, oh, I went to the wrong person, or
I know. I know.
me, or that medium said this, and this psychic said that, and that reader said that, and comparing and contrasting. Universe gives us what we need to hear at the moment that we need to hear it through whatever mouthpiece is used.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that if I had a client that, asked me a certain question, would probably get the same answer, if not, in the same way, from somebody like you. And I think that having that wherewithal and that understanding that you're needing to hear this. It's supposed to change your life accordingly.
Definitely.
Right.
And I have clients that are apprehensive to tell me that they've gone to some. I'm like, I don't care. If somebody else can give you more than me, go.
Right. I say the same thing. Go ahead. People are like, oh, well, I saw.
I
don't care. Go ahead. I don't care. There's enough people who need help in this world that it's not about the monetary or that energetic exchange. Do it. Go ahead. Go see somebody else. Go get validated through somebody else's eyes. Their delivery might not be the same as mine. Their attitude might not be the same. You might not feel warm and fuzzy after, but you're getting what you need. Right? You're getting what you need in some sort of fashion. So, it's funny, even though this is only really the second time that we've talked in person, I'm so glad that we came together in this way of a podcast, because Crystal was right. She understood. She said, you're going to love her. And here she is. And it's the same mentality. And here you are. You're in a different state.
Yeah.
I'm in the Northeast. I'm up here in New England. And you're not even here. And it's the same thing across the board.
I know.
Do you feel that people in your area, the people who have the same abilities that you do, or, I'm not going to say competition, because we're not competition. It's not about that.
It is a monopoly where I live. I'm Bible Belt. So it is a monopoly because people are not open. It's still, I don't want to say safe. Safe's not the right word. It's still frowned upon. It's still not really accepted. Like, we have one little tiny shop here, and it's an antique shop. So people aren't even open with witchcraft, psychics, any of that, reading, like nothing. So what I do is kind of a monopoly. I've met one lady, but she's 45 minutes away.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's different. And I had my neighbor and I told you the story, her grandfather visit. He's like, I can do what you can do, but I'm more powerful. I'm like, okay, buddy. I just smile. And I'm like, yeah, sure. You're older, more experience.
Right. And you're like, not powerful. I mean, we all have it. So it's not a litmus test. It's not a pissing test.
I just let him have it. Let him have it. Let him feel special.
Right. And that's that. Yep. That'll help him in some way. Who knows what?
Who knows?
But up here in the Northeast, in New England especially, it's overly saturated with this energy. And I think that because it is more of a mainstream thing up here, because we are in close proximity to the Disneyland of witchcraft, I'm gonna say. We're very close to Salem. But I feel like a lot of people, plus having this kind of old world mentality up here too, it is a little bit more progressive in that sense. Not only that, the like you said, you live in the Bible Belt, so there isn't a lot of religious conviction when it comes to this. But I have been chastised, if that's the word we're going to use, by certain people about what I do and who I am. And it's like water off a duck's back. You can't change somebody.
I know. And you can't tell somebody, even when I explain something, I just say, this is my religion. This is what I believe in. And that's how I explain it to people around me, that this is my source.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it clicks for them. Hopefully it does. Like, oh, okay.
Right. Like, we're not dancing naked around a fire or sacrificing the neighbor's cat.
No, and I don't. And my thing is, they're always like, well, that's Satanism and that's that. And I'm like, I don't even really believe in the guy. I'm sorry. Maybe he needs a hug. Maybe that guy needs a hug.
Baby needs a hug. Oh, that's so sweet. There's that unconditional love happening again with that
Yes,
Empress card, right?
yes. No, I'm like, why are we hating on him so much?
I mean, he's a
People think
fallen
I'm nuts when
angel.
I say this because I'm
Oh, I
like,
believe it.
he needs a hug. Everyone
Yeah.
just shits on him. Can I say it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. And I mean, it's true. And it's only in the vein of what you believe and what holds fear in your heart, kind of, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So as long as we believe in some sort of higher power, the universe,
Yeah.
however you want to say it, the divine, anything like that, we do have guidance, but we do have free will as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of flowing alongside of all of this. And it's really, really a hard thing to kind of judge and put into somebody's lap and plate and say, this is what you need to eat, and period. And that's it.
I know. It's too big. It's too big.
It's too big. It's too big. Even for us little lowly humans, we can't figure out exactly what it is. But what our messages are, or what our gifts provide, is that comfort, that peace of mind, that ideal that we're not alone, and that our loved ones, who are tangible items in our world, are not gone when we let them go to the next plane, right? So, whatever you believe in, however you believe in, it's good, bad, right, wrong, however you think about it, it's all based on love, really, at the end of the day.
And it's the Empress card again.
Yep, and there she is. See, she just comes through all throughout this, but it's really funny because you do find yourself morphing, and you do find yourself changing, and ascending is probably a word that I would like to use in this category, only because nobody could tell you what your journey is going to look like. It's when you hit goals and you hit benchmarks that you understand that to be the right thing for you, and I believe that, you've trusted your process, you've trusted the journey, you've trusted the universe to lead you into this direction, and it's paid off. And more people should be able to do that. Maybe not on the same scale as you, but
I hope they don't have to walk through that to get to it.
I know. I know. I agree. Some stuff, I mean, the people will be like, oh, what if, you could go back in time? Would you do it the same way? I'm like, yep, I would, because I can handle it.
Like, I would steer it just a little bit different. Like, don't fight it so much, girlfriend. Don't fight it.
Right. Start a little earlier.
Start a little earlier. It will be easy. It's not so scary.
Yes. But you are a gem. You're one in a million down there in the Bible Belt. And, I'm glad that you're living your dream and your best existence at what this looks like, because that's really important, and I think that if anybody takes anything from this today, it's that, trust the process, realize that one thing may lead to another, and it's really just a journey that you're supposed to be on,
Anything I always say, if something goes down, it has to come up. Just remember
that.
Exactly.
And I say the same thing. I say, look at that infinity symbol. There's always a point of down. You're always moving. You're always changing. Your energy is always flowing, whether it's downhill or uphill. Either way. You're not going to stay in this position. You're not going to be in this way of stuck and I can't do shit with my life.
I know.
You can. Right. And sometimes you need people like us that are going to help you.
Like, push and just push. Like, come on, let's go.
Right. Exactly. So, I think that having this conversation and understanding that not all witches or not all psychics or not all readers are awful people, and that we all do the same thing. We come from the same source. We come from that little place of we want to help. We want people to understand their lives to be, a certain way, and that they can figure out what they need to do. It's not the end all what we're saying.
Oh, no, not at all. Maybe somebody the next time on the podcast will have, a totally different and open all of our eyes.
I hope so. Not really. But I think that for everybody, all the guests that I've had, everybody, even though, like I said, I don't know you personally, and I feel more connected because we do have the same ideals in place. It's not one is better than the other. It's also not, everybody's journey looks a little different. But the point is that we're all here to help. And we're all here to provide what, information and what affirmations that these people who are looking, you said it yourself, at rock bottom to find in order. It's like you provide that light at the end of the tunnel for them.
Yes. Or even holding space or holding somebody's hand through it. Because sometimes even I need that sometimes,
Of course.
You're having a bad day. It's nice to have somebody that's there for you and guiding you and loving you, really, Empress again.
Right. Okay. There she is. But coming to that space of also, trusting your gifts and delivering them, effectively and very effortlessly to the people around you. That is something that we as people cannot totally understand until you're in the presence of somebody that has that great energy and is without ego to the point in the job,
no egos.
But no egos here. We can't have them. It doesn't work.
No egos allowed.
No egos allowed. But this, I'm so glad that we got to do this today. I'm so glad that you were here with me today. And
I had it down for September 5th for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe I told you that. I don't even know what's going on in my life right now. Again, I need that Virgo to tell me this is what it's supposed to be.
Me too. I'm all over the place. So when you said no, it's today, I'm like, okay, it's today.
Right. And you were ready for it, right?
Oh, I worked all day, and this is my work face, and this is my work background.
Ooh, so that's great. It's that Leo rising that gets us to this point of you're on a show, and we go.
Yes,
I got it.
And it makes good talkers too. So
it sure does. I'd love to have you back on again.
I would love to.
Yeah, awesome. Let's do it again. And maybe we can get more into, I don't know, we'll have to think about a topic and we'll get to the point of like, oh, we'll talk about this and we'll be here. And I'm sure that it will be pretty much the same attitude or the same picture as well. So, but it was such a pleasure having you on today. Highly recommend you for a reading, even though I haven't had a reading, but your energy is incredible. It's all about that connection and you have it. And, those of you watching, definitely check her out, Ashley Hammett. She doesn't have the socials, but she does have a website that you can book on and that you can be privy to. Do you have a time frame of you're looking at? Are you booked out until a certain time?
I have total availability. It's kind of weird how it happens. The day of, the next day will just fill up. It's really, I just trust it.
Okay. All right.
I have a lot of availability.
Right. So get on there if you want a reading. Ashley is the best. And I can absolutely see that from just your energy today. And so you guys, thank you so much for being with me today on The Witch is In. It's not just one witch, it's many. And we are here just talking about all the things that, maybe you had questions on. If you do have questions, go ahead and send me something. Maybe Ashley and I can kind of ponder it together the next time. But I appreciate everybody who's watching and everybody who catches the replay as well. This has been the greatest experience to be able to do this. And it's been very spotty too, because last week we had some technical difficulties, but this and what that it is, I appreciate. Thank you so much for being here, Ashley.
Thank you.
I will see you guys next Tuesday.